Punching Up, a Nintendo podcast, is brought to you by you. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 49 of Punching Up, Last Stand Media's weekly Nintendo podcast. I'm your host, as always, Brad Ellis, and joining me are my two lovely co-hosts. We're going to start with Gene first. Gene, how are you, my friend?
Good. How's it going? Just played a lot of games, actually, finally, which has been nice.
That's good.
Playing a lot of new games. February has started.
Mm-hmm.
This is a hell month when it comes to releases. So that's been busy. But it sucks because I also want to just play old games.
Yes, I understand that.
It's my favorite thing to do. I don't like having to play new games when I just feel like wanting to play an old game right now. But we can talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about all that stuff we're playing later. But Micah was about to dump a bunch of stuff on me that I was like, no, save it for the show. I don't want to hear it. Micah, hello, first of all. Good to see you. All right, Micah, lay it on me. What's happening? What's going on?
Okay. So you guys, I mentioned how I was really excited. I was going to start pre-ordering my games at GameStop. Go pick them up in store. Maybe meet the nice girl who works there. Okay. So Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Pre-ordered it in store when I traded in those consoles. All right. I go today to pick it up and they don't have it. And like it was complicated. I mentioned this on Twitter. I didn't even get into the full story. The full story is that I ordered the gold edition for Xbox. And at first the guy couldn't find it. And then he's like, oh, no, here it is. And so he, rings it up. I go to the car and I look at the game and I'm like, I thought the gold edition had a yellow cover. Mm-hmm. And it does. What he had given me was the standard edition.
Right.
So then I was like, panic mode, because you guys know me, I'm like the shyest person ever. I hate confrontation. The last thing I want to do is be like, this isn't the right game, but I had to, right? Like the gold edition's $90 versus $70. Like I paid for it. So I go back in the store and I'm like, I'm sorry, I looked online and this isn't the gold edition. It should be yellow. And he's like, oh, my bad. All right. And they still couldn't find it. And then he checked the inventory system and he's like, it says -1, which means when I, ran your pre-order pickup through, like we actually didn't have it in the first place. So then he calls his manager and this whole saga took 30 minutes, first of all. So my quick trip to GameStop was an extended visit and they were super nice. I felt bad for the guys there. I didn't want to be mean to them or anything. They call their manager because then they couldn't figure out how to give me a refund because it was paid for with my trade credit. And that took 15 minutes. It was a nightmare. I ordered it online, so now I'll just have to wait to get it.
Oh, no.
That's how my day started.
Oh, no. You're so excited, too.
Well, and because Colin was like, I can get it on Amazon and it'll get here tomorrow. And I'm like, I have $400 in GameStop money. What the hell am I supposed to spend it on if not games?
Funko Pops?
No, I literally said that on Twitter. Someone's like, what are they good for? And I said, a wide selection of Funko Pops. It's just, it's disappointing because obviously, I was really excited to just go pick up the game. The whole point of this was that Target has burned me on 2 orders last year where I pre-ordered the game and then they were like, it's going to be 3 weeks late. I'm like, why?
What?
That happened twice last year. And so and then GameStop, I should have just taken the cash, but it was $80 more if I took the trade credit versus cash. I'm like, $80 is a lot.
Yeah.
But I should have just taken the cash and spent it at Amazon. When this GameStop money's gone, I'm fucking done with GameStop. I just need to spend this remaining credit. And then otherwise I'm never going to go here again. But yeah, that's
how they get you.
My sad story.
That's how they get you.
Dude, man, because I was just like, I don't understand how you could look me in the eyes and just be like, we don't have it. It's like, but I pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
It's here.
It says on this piece of paper I did it. Mike, I'd be so upset if that happened to me.
Allegedly, so I pre-ordered it on the 25th, and the guy was like, "Oh well, sometimes if the pre-order is done, less than 2 weeks before the game comes out, we don't get it."
Mm.
And it's like, so you didn't tell me that when I ordered it, like, it's face to face with a man. You didn't tell me that then. And also, like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, so you do this all the time if somebody orders a game and then you're just like, sorry, bro, we don't have it.
Yeah.
Like, you do this all the time? And they were like, we could email corporate to try and get one because we're not supposed to get any more of these. And I was like, well, how long is that going to take? He's like, maybe a week. And I was like,
nah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna spend this money, and then when it's gone, I'm gonna cut up my GameStop power-up card for good.
Yeah, that's it, GameStop. You lost another one. Unfortunate.
They lost me. That's the thing. They lost me years ago. As soon as this happened, I was just like, this is why I stopped shopping here. Because I was like, yeah, it's fun to go to the store. It's fun to go look at the used games. This is fun. And then the whole time I'm in there, I'm like, this is hell. Yeah. And now I remember exactly why I stopped shopping here.
So annoying. I mean, I had bad experiences there a couple times as well, Micah. I don't know if they didn't have a game or something like that for me. I just remember the employees being very annoying when I went to GameStop. Just very annoying. I'm like, just please stop. Please stop talking to me.
All the hotties aren't working there at GameStop anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
The whole flotation or the wholeflation, whatever.
Yeah, the wholeflation. Yeah.
Talking about. For reference, Asmongold tweeted a couple weeks ago about how you never see hot babes at Target or GameStop anymore. They're all at OnlyFans right now. Which is
damn. Yeah.
I don't know if I really saw like OnlyFans level babes like at GameStop. Whatever. It's mostly guys that look like me or Brad.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing is, I've never seen a female employee at a GameStop. I applied to work at GameStop when I was in college. They did not hire me. So thanks, GameStop. I would have been like a real good employee. I can tell you that. But yeah, so I don't know how much stock to put in that because I never saw women there in the first place, besides myself shopping there.
I used to see women at mine.
I feel like I've seen like 1 or 2 girls working there ever. And I don't know, like if even that, like how lonely do you have to be to remember like your female interaction with women at GameStop, They're like, oh yeah, I remember her though, Like how does that stick into your mind, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I went to GameStop for years and there was women that worked there, but I don't remember anything about them. I just remember seeing females working there.
Yeah. But I don't remember like having any interaction with them at all.
No,
just fucking give me my game,
Yeah, just give me my game. Yeah, I'm not the kind of person that like hangs out at GameStop like some people do. It's like their hangout and shit like that. It's like, nah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan when they start like having like a conversation with me. I'm like, what is this? Like you're not cutting my hair right now. You're like this. This isn't a fucking haircut. Fucking just give me my game.
You're so dead on because when I went in to trade in those consoles, last month, okay, and I hadn't been to GameStop in a while, and the dude starts doing like his little stand-up comedy routine is what I told Colin because like I'm just standing in line and he goes, can't wait to get home to see my 3 favorite people, my bed, my pillow, my blanket. And it's just like, I'm like looking around the other customers. And I'm like, it's just like this dude is just doing, it's like,
he wasn't even talking to you. He was just like trying to be funny in general, like practicing Twitter jokes.
There were multiple people in the store. There were many of us. And he's kind of like milling around behind the counter doing his little stand-up routine, I guess. And I was like, this is the vibe in here. And it's fucking strange. But it just reminded me.
I admire that though. Working at GameStop is a fucking dead end job. So you got to feel like the main character somehow, and that's a good way to feel like the main character.
So there's a Subway back home. It's a Subway inside of a Walmart, and the dude who makes the sandwiches at that Subway, he takes sandwich artist. Literally, he's like doing these big arm gestures, and he's like sprinkling the salt, like way before Salt Bay. All right, he takes the lettuce and he like fans it. And you really are. It's like watching a hibachi chef make your food because it's Subway. And I remember like going there one time, I didn't know about him yet. And I was like, whoa, this guy's insane. I go to work one day at GNC and my boss is like, you ever been to that Subway at the Walmart? I'm like, with the guy, right? The guy, and he's like a magician. So it's like that same level. He's just really trying to inject some fun into his day, I guess.
It's like that popcorn guy that went viral because he was right.
Popcorn guy, yeah.
Yeah, this popcorn guy went viral because he was like spinning the buckets around and like drizzling the butter on like in a really fancy way, and he was like a real big dude. But the way he handled popcorn was like a Harlem Globetrotter,
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. So sometimes you just gotta feel good about yourself at work.
Yeah. Gotta make it fun.
We actually, when my friend Stephanie and I at the department store, we used to be assigned to the gift wrap counter at Christmas, and we would pretend that we had a reality show called The Wrap. And then we did it partly to entertain the customers and also ourselves, because they would just be sitting and waiting, and I'd be like, next time on The Wrap, and she goes, we have a Vera Bradley bathrobe. Can we wrap this in under 5 minutes? And then we'd try and do our wrapping. We got some good tips that way. It was fun. It did. Now I'm kind of now I'm kind of understanding. I haven't done retail in a while, so now I am remembering how soul sucking it was.
Yeah,
and just trying to make it somehow better.
Yeah, you're doing the best you can. Yeah, I hope that someday you run into someone like that, Micah, wrapping your shit. Can I do this in 5 minutes? And you're just gonna be like, oh God.
No, dude, because the customers, they'd be like sitting in the waiting room, and then they're kind of like, I don't know, can they? Like you could tell they were like, well, let's see. And then they'd end up sending us a $5, and we weren't supposed to accept tips. So it was fun. It added some joy.
But did you take the tip?
Yeah, you were supposed to turn them into the business office, and we never did that.
Yeah. Smart move. That's the way to do it, Micah. All right. This is Nintendo Podcast. You want to support us on Patreon? Go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. We greatly appreciate it. Leave us a nice rating on the show. We want to climb the ranks, the podcast ranks. Everyone's got to know how stupid we are. We need it to spread. So please leave us a nice rating and all that good stuff. Also, if you want some merch, go to laststandmedia.store. You can get some merchandise. We got stickers of the show, the Punching Up logo that Micah sent me. Thank you, Micah. And of course, my favorite sticker, the smug Xbox Matty. The all-time great. I love that one. It's so good. All right, guys. Before we get into the news talks, we got a couple write-ins. This is from Jordan Avery. Hello, Punchers. I regret to inform all members of this podcast that drinking with your butt does not appear to be to be isolated to Micah. Last week, I was speaking with a friend who confided me in horror about his donut hole taking a drink during a shower, asking if he should go see a doctor. 20 minutes after giving him the "I am not a doctor, but I heard of that on a podcast before" speech, another friend of mine with children texted me to inform me their youngest declared from the bath that they were, and I quote, "drinking with my butt." It was super weird to have two real-world examples of water slurping butts back to back in real world, and the source wasn't Micah. Scratch that. I'm going to issue a stand down to Micah anyways. Enjoy the show. Wow, Micah, you are not alone in the butt slurping.
Not alone. This is good. This is good to know, because it's like, I appreciate his friend being like, should I see a doctor? Because it's like, I certainly wasn't going to go to the doctor and be like, I'm not telling anyone this. Well, I mean, I told a bunch of people, but like, I'm not telling anyone who like intimately knows me this. The doctor doesn't need to know about my malfunctioning butt. But so if other people have the same thing, what? Actually, follow up, listener, if your friend does go to the doctor, why don't you let me know what the doctor said?
If you slurp with your butt, why don't you all tag Micah in something and let her know? Why don't you tweet at her? Let her know your butt slurping stories, stuff like that. I'm sure she'll be thrilled to hear it.
Yeah. Write them into the show. Don't tweet at me. Keep writing them into Brad.
Keep writing them into the show. I have to read them all. Yeah, I have to read them all. Gene, what do you think about this heinous butt slurping activity?
I don't want to even talk about it, honestly.
Excellent. Good.
I don't know how that's possible. So, and I don't want to explore the possibilities, So I'm good.
I just hope it happens to both of you one day, so that you'll just know.
I don't really I don't really like sit in the bath or anything like that. How am I going to butt slurp when I'm?
This is in a shower.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to even get into it. Let's keep going. This is from Nick. Believe it. It's worth noting that last week's barbecue sauce discussion was all about Kansas City style sauce. What most of us consider normal barbecue sauce, however, there's also tangy, vinegary, Eastern North Carolina style, ketchup, Western North Carolina style, mustard, South Carolina style, and many other variations and hybrids. Now, try wrapping your head around this. Alabama white sauce contains mayo, apple cider, vinegar, seasonings, and most recipes I find online include horseradish. Usually, it's very thin and served with smoked chicken or pulled pork. The question is, can you accept this as a category of barbecue sauce? Or are you going to separate or segregate the white from the browns? I'm segregating this. This does not count. I'm throwing a stand down on that. No. Barbecue sauce, you got to be brown, all right? You got to be a dark color. You could be a lighter brown, but you got to be in that realm. You're getting too close to mayo or ranch or something like that. I won't have that. Micah, what do you think as a barbecue sauce expert?
So, I mean, far from an expert, the thing for me with the white sauce, are you merely like drizzling it on, or is this a sauce that you actually would put back on the smoker, back on the grill to tack it up? Because like that's the main thing for me with like a true barbecue sauce, whether it is your vinegar style or whatever. It's a sauce that normally I'm gonna sauce the ribs or sauce something, and then I'm gonna stick it back on the smoker or the grill 10 or 15 minutes to tack it up. If you can't do that with the white sauce, and I don't know, it just sounds disgusting, first of all, so I wouldn't eat it. But if you're not tacking it up, I wouldn't consider it real barbecue sauce. I think it's just sauce. But it sounds god awful. Like everyone knows I hate mayonnaise, so that's a me thing.
Segregation then for Micah as well.
Oh,
Gene?
Separate but equal.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of mayonnaise either. So any
same. I don't like mayonnaise. Good. We all have a great take together. This is
finally, yeah. We're in unison on one thing that we don't like. One food item that we don't like, but it's mayo. Yeah, I'm not a fan of mayo. Been an anti mayo fan. Me and his columnist in Hawaii, he hated mayo too, and we were the only ones who hated mayo. Unfortunately, the best chili recipe, the most popular chili recipe in Hawaii, was so good because I actually included mayo in it. You put a little mayo in it, and all of a sudden there's a creaminess to it that's delicious.
Sure.
That's the only time I could actually stand mayo is if you mix it in hard with spicy chili. Then it's
Exactly. There is a really good burger recipe where, and not even really a recipe, I guess you just call it a technique. You mix in 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise per pound of ground beef before you make your patties. It does work really well to keep them juicy, but I mind over mattered because I really wanted to try it, but like I mind over mattered myself into eating it, and the whole time I was just like, it's got mayonnaise in it. Like I don't mind mayonnaise in like desserts, honestly. Like I'll make like a cheesecake and that might have a little mayonnaise in it, or like a chocolate cake. But something about those beef patties, because then they were like juicy. They were delightfully juicy, but I'm like, the juice is mayonnaise. Like
Ew.
I would not do it again. I stick to putting butter on the burgers instead.
Yeah. That's the right call.
It also looked horrible when you were making the patties, and like I didn't expect the mayonnaise to be so opaque once mixed in. Because it's only a tablespoon. I'm like, yeah, you probably won't even notice it. No, the fucking patties are like white.
Yeah.
I was like, this is gross.
Yeah. It's like one thing if you have a little mayonnaise mixed into something, that's a little different. But if you're having mayonnaise just raw style, no. That's heinous, inappropriate, perverted, I would say. In fact, I'm going to say mayonnaise is cringe. No mayonnaise.
No mayonnaise.
Sorry, everybody. I can't wait for everyone to write in about how good mayonnaise is in the future.
Oh, dude.
It won't work.
It won't work, no.
It will not work. The barbecue podcast I listen to, the dude's wife loves mayonnaise, and she'll try just like random stuff that people write in, including like mayonnaise and peanut butter sandwich. Just like, people will write in and be like, I love this. And she'll be like, I'll try it. It's so awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. Do you guys like barbecue sauces with like mustard in it? Because I don't.
No.
I don't hate mustard. Like I like if I go to Wendy's, right, and I get a burger and it's got ketchup and mustard on it, that's perfect. But it never tastes the same at home, no matter
Mm-hmm.
what I do. So like outside of that, no, I don't really like I don't like honey mustard, and I don't typically enjoy mustard based things except like if mustard powder is in like a seasoning mix as like
Mm,
the 20th ingredient, it's just a hint of it. I don't mind that. But otherwise, I'm not a big fan.
yeah. Nah. Okay, good. We're all pretty close on that as well. Wow.
Mhm.
I'm proud of us, guys. We've finally done it. We've
Yeah,
aligned.
every time it's on a burger, it's always like a non-starter for me. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Pickles and tomatoes on it, I can actually deal with that, and I can take it off. But mayo, that's all over the burger already. It's done.
It
Yeah.
ruins it.
Ugh, just
Yeah.
ruins it. Yeah. Trash.
Yeah.
Keep it out of my burger. All right. Let's talk about some video game news. Mega Man 11 has surpassed 2 million sales. Capcom has given us an update on the sales of the Mega Man series, and Mega Man 11 remains the best-selling entry in the series with 2 million copies sold. Gene, what do you think about this?
Wow, Mega Man is, it reminds you how niche Mega Man really is. Even though Mega Man is like an iconic character, even though it's Colin's favorite character and one of my favorite characters too. Um, it just calls to mind that each Mega Man game hasn't actually sold that much. If Mega Man 11 at 2 million only is the best selling game of all time, um, that's cool because I love Mega Man 11. I think it actually is my favorite Mega Man game of all time.
Oh, nice.
So to know that it is number one on the sales chart, it's great. I play the shit out of Mega Man 11 all the time. For me, it's the most replayable one. Although I haven't played it in a while, so I've been kind of meaning to reinstall on my Nintendo Switch again. But yeah, fantastic game. Very happy to hear. But once again, a reminder why Capcom isn't like rushing to make Mega Man games all the time, is because we're not rushing to buy them, and fuck us for doing that. So,
Micah, how does this make you feel being married to a Mega Man fanatic?
So it's funny because I really didn't know much about, I really don't know much about Mega Man in the first place. And just living with Colin, I have learned, much of it through osmosis. But I wouldn't have expected these numbers to be so relatively low. It's also infuriating though, because completely random, I realized I didn't have a copy of Sleeping Dogs in my collection. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna, go find a used copy somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm Googling this and it comes up, why didn't they ever make another one? And it was like, oh, well, they were unhappy with the sales numbers. And it's like it sold, less than 2 million copies, I think. But it's like, they keep making a fuck ton of these Mega Man games and they don't sell very well. We couldn't get one more Sleeping Dogs. It's infuriating.
They're probably a lot cheaper to make.
Emma Stone, and the Sleeping Dogs came out in an era where for some reason Hollywood actors were really cheap, I guess. And they were doing all the voices for all these video games for some reason, and Sleeping Dogs had a couple of stars, including Emma Stone for some reason. She was like the one white girl in it.
I did not know that. I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
She's
I
not
like
a unique
her a
character.
lot.
Yeah, she's not a unique character. She's like a side quest character for some reason. But they use her in all the marketing or whatever. So they fucking blew it like a shit ton of money for no reason on Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs fucked up. I'm glad that you brought that up because it's actually one of the games I've been playing.
It's so good. I got to do a replay. I haven't played it in years.
Because Simu Liu, the Shang-Chi actor, is now in rumors to be reviving the effort to make the movie, that Donnie Yen wanted to make before, but also he's trying to figure out ways to how to fund the new game for it, I guess. Which is cool. But yeah, if you know about Sleeping Dogs, it was just way too expensive. It was supposed to be like a true crime game, and Activision it had one of those feature creep problems because as Sleeping Dogs was being made, GTA 4 came out. And then after GTA 4 came out, everybody at Activision was like, you need to change your entire game and you need to make it like Grand Theft Auto 4. You need to have rocket launchers in this game and you need to be able to shoot down helicopters with rocket launchers.
Yeah.
And if you play Sleeping Dogs, that doesn't happen at all. So they had to fight that. They had to fight that like tooth and nail to make sure that the game doesn't become something that it wasn't, basically, you know. And it even had a script where it was going to try to mimic not like an actual Hong Kong action movie, like an interesting action detective movie, but Rush Hour. They wanted the game to be more like Rush Hour with like a buddy comedy type of role, and they had to fight that too. So Sleeping Dogs was a famously fucked up project, and it's their fault. You know, now that you have the template, just make another Sleeping Dogs 2, and I bet you it'll sell like 7 million. You know,
Absolutely.
7 mil. Wow.
Yeah, like maybe 5 million, but you know.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, I mean, I haven't played it. I know a lot of people really like it though, so that'd be good.
Oh yeah, you haven't played it?
No.
The best way to
Oh,
describe it is Grand Theft Auto, but with the melee combat is exactly like Arkham Asylum or Arkham.
Okay.
Batman Arkham.
Okay.
With the combat system, and except that Wei Shen kills people, so you're killing people as you're doing the counters. There's environmental attacks, and that shit will just straight up like murder people. You can smash a guy's face into a fish tank, and then the fish, the water will flow into the room, and you can pick up the fish and you can kill the guys with the fish, like the swordfish and everything.
That's awesome.
It's a fucking sick game.
It sounds like that Jet Li game on PS2. That game was awesome. I can't remember what it was called, but there's a really fun Jet Li game on there.
I rented that once. I forgot what it's called too. I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah.
It's way better than the Jet Li game. This is like open world Arkham City with like a regular Chinese guy, and the regular Chinese guy like kills a lot more and is kind of like a lot more lethal than Batman even was. And there's also shooting sections. There's a whole cover shooting mechanic and slow mo. When you dive over the cover, it kind of goes into slow mo, so it kind of becomes like Vanquish a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
That's
really cool game. Micah knows.
Yeah.
No, it's excellent. And so I was going through my games and I just realized, oh, I do not have a copy of this in the collection. So I did find a used copy to buy. We'll see if GameStop fucks me on that too. But I should give it a replay soon, because it's not a very long game either, is it, Gene?
No, not too much. It does kind of struggle at the beginning, which I think a lot of people like. The first like maybe like hour or 2 hours is kind of boring, with really boring missions and like really bad structure. And that usually filters people out, especially back then when this game came out, when like fucking Skyrim and like Far Cry 3 and like all these other games came out. Like it was hard for it to gain attention. But now, you know, an hour or two is like nothing in terms of like what a slow game could be. And it picks up real fast. It picks, you know, as soon as you're able to realize like how lethal Wei Shen is in terms of the combat, you're immediately turned on. You're like, oh, this combat feels great. Like the way you counter people, it feels a little bit more engaging than Batman Arkham, if anything. So, yeah,
cool, very nice. We have some updated numbers on Mega Man also. So Mega Man 11.
We're talking about Mega Man. Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ.
we were talking about Mega Man. Micah was lamenting that Mega Man's selling and doing okay.
Yeah,
but Sleeping Dogs is selling the same and not doing okay.
Mega
Man's probably a lot cheaper to make. So
that's the thing. I didn't know all that regarding the production cost and everything. That gives it a lot of context for sure. Still mad because they could make a sequel for a lot cheaper.
Yeah, you don't have to hire Emma Stone this time. I don't think anyone gives a shit if Emma Stone is in your video game. You know,
they clearly didn't.
Yeah, they clearly did it. Yeah, it didn't work. You know. Like, nobody was like, oh my god, Emma Stone is in the marketing cycle for this game, and she's in the game. I have to buy this. 1.5 million only people bought it, you know?
So 2 million for Mega Man 11, Mega Man Legacy Collection, 1,000,060. Mega Man 2 from 1988 is number 3 with 1.550 or 1.51 million. Mega Man Legacy Collection, 1.40. Mega Man Battle Network 4, 1.35 million. Mega Man X, 1.16 million. And Mega Man 3, 1.8 million. Wow. Pretty interesting. So the top 3, I mean, the original trilogy, actually just 2 and 3, not even Mega Man 1's on there. Good to see 2 and 3, obviously very good games. X, I adore, so I'm really happy about that. Good to see the collections on there.
Yeah.
At least both of them, yeah. Or the X collection and normal one. The Battle Network one, it's just really interesting. I haven't played those, but I know a lot of people love them, so that's cool. But yeah, good to get some update on Mega Man. Now we just need a game, for God's sakes. Give us a game. Because it's been a while. All right, guys, we got another mysterious patent that's relating to Switch 2. I'm going to read this from NintendoLife.com, this write-up. What if your controller could sense your next move? That's hardly science fiction after a rollback netcode is used in many leading fighting games to do just that. But a patent has been spotted by Tom's Guide and Game Rant, which hints that Nintendo could look into include it into Switch 2 at a hardware level. The patent was filed by the Japanese company in August of 2024 and published on January 23rd of this year. It appears to be a system that tracks button presses and directional movements with the goal of predicting the next possible input sequence. The apparent upside of the system will be able to learn from your button inputs in certain games and use that data to speed things up, such as a commonly repeated menu selection. Rollback netcode does a similar thing, but in the mechanics, the system is predicting the next input and rolling back. If the player input is different, rather than memorizing a sequence of inputs. This is kind of interesting. What do you think about this, Gene? Like a rollback, almost button inputs from your games.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of addresses the whole issue of Nintendo Online. It really seems like they're kind of modernizing things. But yeah, it basically just sounds like rollback for your games. I don't know.
Micah, what do you think about this?
Well, first I want to say I'm very angry because when I clicked on the link that you included in the document, I got a huge ad for Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's mocking me.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I got it too.
Yeah, and it's like out now. It's like, I know. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know what the hell this means for a layperson such as myself. What is this doing for me? So it's trying to guess that I'm going to go to the main menu based on the buttons I'm pressing. Yeah, and it's going to try and do it faster.
Yeah, it's going to try to read your inputs, I suppose. So like if you go to the menu, like let's say for instance you're playing an RPG. Okay, you go to the menu and you heal everyone or something like that. You do that very frequently. It'll try to speed it up for you, I suppose, in some way. I always worry about the sense of it doing something I don't want it to do necessarily, but I'm not an expert on like this rollback kind of setting, so I don't really know. It sounds weird though, but I am curious to see how they implement it later on.
Because in practice, like in theory, you could be opening the menu for anything, but I guess it's true that like 9 times out of 10, if I'm opening up the sub menu when I'm playing, Witcher 3, like, what am I clicking on? Probably clicking on the same like 2 things over and over. So it's just going to try and guess which one I might go to and try and like load that up faster.
Yeah, I suppose. Something like that. Gene, what it reminded me of is playing like a fighting game and the CPU is like reading your inputs and how annoying that is. And I'm just like, oh God, I'm worried about games like that in the future and more stuff because that is terrifying.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, I don't know what this is, but I feel like Nintendo won't use it to its fullest extent. So I don't know if I'm all that worried.
Yeah, you're probably right, dude. Yeah. The HD Rumble.
Yeah, exactly. Shit. Like HD Rumble, that didn't do jack shit.
Yeah,
it was interesting in that one presentation.
The ice cubes, yeah,
yeah.
They'll do it for like a couple first-party games at the launch, then they'll just forget about it. Mm-hmm. That's a good call, dude.
No, I'll never forget with like 1-2 Switch. They're like, you can feel the balls rolling around, and it's like I could do that at Thanksgiving with my creepy uncle. All right, like I don't need to buy this. I don't need to buy this.
Oh, ew.
Yeah, it's just, dude. The jokes Colin and I make like off air, it's a whole.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's heinous.
Gene, I can't wait for you to come visit.
He's gonna get a hotel. Mm-hmm. He's going to be having enough. He's already had enough.
He gets to stay in this room with all the collectibles. This is the guest room.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
All the Dragon Ball.
Yeah, he gets to see all of it. Oh, the Bill Cosby memoir. You can read the Bill Cosby memoir.
Oh my God, dude.
Well, I'm
Oh
not
my
going to throw
God.
it out. It's a collector's item, kind of.
God, some sick freak wants it. That's
I don't
true.
know. It's like if your grandpa had like, these are Hitler's pants. I stole them. Like, are you going to really throw away Hitler's pants?
I don't know. I'd sell them, I think. Just get them out of my life.
It's just kind of funny to have it on the shelf, though.
Yeah, it is. I
It's
suppose.
like, it's
Yeah.
like a meme.
Yeah, I suppose it is. All right. Let's see here. Next, there was an interview going on with, here, I'll just read this. This is from Games Radar. This is about Nintendo relying on owning popular series would be a big mistake, says Zelda Star Fox veteran. It's crucial not to forget the talented individuals who uphold the value of those IPs. Legendary Nintendo veteran Takayama Imamura may have departed the company in 2021 after over 30 years of service, but he still believes the company is in good hands, although he thinks relying solely on owning popular series going forward would be a, quote, big mistake. Imamura, who designed multiple iconic characters including Captain Falcon, Fox McCloud, and Tingle, supervised multiple F-Zero games and served as the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask art director, among other roles, has now shared a blog post explaining his thought process behind leaving Nintendo. In it, he talks about the back and forth of emotions he faced when weighing up the decision, but also mentions that it's quote, no easy task to manage a company with many creators. He adds, rather than just a good and natural boss, a charismatic leader is essential, keeping things running smoothly. Clearly, though, he has no concerns about when it comes to Nintendo. Nintendo's still in good hands, thanks to many charismatic developers who have created major hits, he continues. But the idea that as long as we have popular IPs will be fine is a big mistake. It's crucial not to forget that the talented individuals who uphold the values of those IPs. While Imamura doesn't point to any series in particular here, it's a statement I'm sure fans of, well, pretty much anything can agree with. Watching a game series fall off is heartbreaking, and it's certainly fair to say that sticking a popular name on the front of something doesn't guarantee it'll be good. The devs are, literally and figuratively, the people who make brilliant games happen. And at times with the industry, it's constantly being hit with layoffs, and Imamura's message feels more important than ever. Micah, what do you think about this? Of course, Nintendo has legendary IPs like Mario and Zelda that aren't going to go anywhere. But he's saying that it's the people that make the games that are special, that bring the ideas. That's what make the IPs shine. What do you think about all this?
No, I absolutely agree. As I think each of us have probably experienced a favorite game series either declining over the years or simply not being happy with the new entries because of, changes. And it's so much more than just the big name, the brand itself. It's the team behind it that makes it. It's something that, Colin, kind of harps on a bit in recent shows, is that when an entire team has departed a studio, the studio's name doesn't mean much anymore. It doesn't mean much when you say it's made by this, but it's like, well, in reality, every person who ever worked there has been replaced. And you can't guarantee that same quality until you actually get a new game and try it from them. So I agree 100% that you can't simply rely on the big name itself to sell the games. And you also just can't rely on look at Pokemon, for example, just in terms of quality. Now, people still buy them. But you see a lot of unhappy gamers when it comes to bugs and issues and some of the recent titles, like performance issues especially. And it's like, dude, where's the heart and soul behind these games besides just churning them out,
Right.
like a factory?
Yeah. Gene, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's not saying anything that anyone can disagree with,
Right.
It's a good reminder that Nintendo should to keep trying with new IP.
Yeah, of course.
Just because I think ARMS was good.
It was really good.
Like it's our fault. It's the audience's fault for not picking up on that. The character designs were amazing. I saw a whole bunch of viral tweets the other day about people celebrating all the black characters. It's Black History Month, of course, right? So celebrating all the black characters that Nintendo have put in, and Twintel was iconic in ARMS. You know, she was gorgeous. You know, she would have like lit up the whole fan art community. But yeah, like for some reason people were just too distracted by Zelda back then. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't
So-
give a shit about ARMS because Zelda was out.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe ARMS could have. I don't know what happened with ARMS, but yeah, Nintendo should definitely. I mean, Splatoon was huge, you know, and
Yeah.
fairly recent. So that should be another indicator. But yeah, good advice. Can't complain.
Yeah, it's just interesting because Nintendo, they keep a lot of the IPs going, like Mario and Zelda, but they reinvent them usually every entry. Well, we get them so infrequent, I feel like, so
Mhm.
they're quite different every time you get them, especially nowadays. So I think it's cool to keep ideas fresh. Like the Zelda team right now is a lot of newer people that hadn't been working on. Of course, there's some veterans, but a lot of newer people were there, and you can definitely see it in the influences with like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Even in just things of Link not wearing his tunic and stuff like that, it's really interesting to get new blood in there. So yeah, I agree with him. So Nintendo, keep evolving. All right, just a quick little thing right here though. Ridge Racer 64 is now available for Nintendo Switch Online members. Gene, did you ever play this?
Nope, never owned a Nintendo 64. So whenever I had one, like rented one or borrowed it from a friend, I can guarantee that Ridge Racer 64 was not my priority.
Yeah, I have not played this, but it looks pretty cool actually.
Like Cruising USA was like more of a priority for me, you know.
Sure, I played that too. Yeah,
You know, because I was already a PlayStation guy, so I was already playing Ridge
Ridge
Racer,
Racer.
like the good version of Ridge Racer already. So,
yeah. It's a cool title though. I like to see this here because Ridge Racer is a historic franchise, so it's really sweet. I forgot they even made a 64 version. Micah, do you have any interest in playing this or racing games in general? I don't even know if you like them or not.
I used to love racing games as a kid. Like my sister and I loved Mario Kart. And then we also had one of the Need for Speed Hot Pursuits for GameCube. I still have it actually. It's out on my shelf. So we did love those games. I'll say though, something is wrong with me now. Racing games make me a little nauseous. And I don't know if maybe I just need to get acclimated again to how quickly everything's going. I don't know if it's just because I don't play them anymore and I just need to get my sea legs back. But the last time I tried to play like a racing game, I just remember feeling a little sick. And I was like, that's strange. You used to play these constantly. You know what it was? It was on Nintendo Switch Online. I played the Mario Kart and the old one, whatever one they have on there. And I was just like, oh, I feel sick. And I don't know if it was because the graphics, you know, are like chunky in the way they're moving. So maybe a modern game wouldn't hurt me the same way. But it was not good for me. I did a couple races and I was like, I got to tap out of this. This does look really cool, though. It reminds me it's so much of my sister and I playing Need for Speed on GameCube. We would go nuts in that game. We'd just be flying around. We wouldn't even finish the races. Like we would just be flying around corners and just driving around, having a good time. Yeah. She'd always choose the McLaren and it was like way too fast. And then she'd just be like crashing into everything. So fantastic memories playing racing games or Road Rash. Love Road Rash for PC. Yeah. We had that. Amazing before my mom took it away because she saw what was happening in the game.
That's awesome. Mike, I didn't know you got sick from racing games. What are you going to do when Mario Kart 9 comes out on Switch 2?
That's the thing. Like this, it didn't happen with the newer like Mario Karts. Like I played a lot of Mario Kart on Wii U, right? I had not played it though on Switch. So I have not played one in a while. So I am hoping that the old Mario Kart was only making me feel weird because it was just maybe it was, you know, like maybe it was more so like the flashy nature of it. You know, maybe I was actually like triggering a little seizure in my brain or something. I don't know. But I'm hoping a new game wouldn't do that to me because I'll be very upset. I will say though, actually, playing Kingdom Come Deliverance, it was the first-person game I'd played in quite some time. I also felt nauseous playing that at first. I did get over it though. And then like I jumped into Borderlands 3 and I was fine. So maybe I just need to get acclimated again. Because actually I kind of forgot about that. When I go a while without playing a first-person game, I always feel a little motion sick, like when I start a new one.
Interesting. You and Colin having motion, like getting sick from playing games recently. Him with VR.
Dude. Yeah, I can't touch VR for any games. Like for him, it's just been that one game, Arizona Sunshine. For me, it's anything in VR, like even Job Simulator made me feel sick and you're sitting down using your arms.
I love that game. It's so
I
good.
did too. I forced myself to play it because I really liked it, and I just was like, you got to stop.
All right, guys, let's talk about what we're playing. Gene, we heard a little bit from you, so let's continue with you.
Yeah, I have actually been playing. Well, I'm playing Avowed. I can actually talk
nice.
about that. I can actually talk that I'm playing that. So
Nice.
that's good and exciting. I was actually really looking forward to Avowed. It's the latest game by Obsidian. It reminds me that I still haven't played Pentiment, and I feel like I should play Pentiment to kind of like understand like where Obsidian is as a developer too. So that's fun. Can't really talk about that until the review embargo's up. But beyond that, I'm also playing another game that I can't talk about. But it's also coming out soon. But beyond that, I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2 again, man. On PC, on my Steam Deck. Not on PS4. And the reason why it's been fun to play it on the Steam Deck is because I am not replaying Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm not starting the whole game over again. I'm not getting the whole band together, and I'm not trying to get money for Dutch and everything like that. The beauty about PC games is that you can actually just import a save from somewhere else. I already beat Red Dead Redemption 2 a long time ago, so I would like to just enjoy the post game, which is my favorite part of the game. So that's what I did. I just imported a save, 100% complete save, at the end of the game, where everything is unlocked and I can just like roam around the world of Red Dead Redemption 2 and just enjoy the atmosphere. And that's what
interesting.
It's like a little mini vacation that I take. I walk around with the characters and just the level of engagement you have with the world is so interesting when you're not just doing missions all the time. Just the emergent stuff that happens in the world. There was a bunch of stuff that I never saw happen. I walked into a bar and like this girl hit on me and was like, "Hey, come on, let's go in the back." And I was like, "Hell yeah, let's go, let's have sex." And then I went back and I just got jumped by like 3 guys, and I killed them.
That's awesome.
And I was like, I've never seen that happen before in Red Dead Redemption 2 before. I seriously thought that it was gonna be a little sexcapade and something crazy was gonna happen, and something crazy did, and it was just over. It was just a little mini story that happened. So that's been great. The great thing about importing saves is that I also imported another save right at the middle part of Chapter 2 of Red Dead Redemption 2. Kind of before like the whole story kind of this isn't a spoiler, but if you do know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It's really before like certain events in the story really happen, to the point where the eventual fates of everybody are kind of sealed, right? Like there's a part of the game where everything's kind of relaxed and chilled and everything like that. And so I have a completed save where everything you could possibly get up to that point is there. And that's been a fun way for a lot of Red Dead 2 fans to kind of enjoy the game, is to just never leave that chapter and just pretend that you're just forever in this like pretend cowboy western land where you're just robbing things and everyone's just happy and everything like that. So that's been really enjoyable. So I've been enjoying 2 saves, one in the complete post game, and we won't talk about what happens in the post game, but a lot of fun stuff happens, and the way the world opens up at the post game, and in Chapter 2 when the world officially opens up again for the rest of the game, and you can just really enjoy it. And man, it runs amazing on the Steam Deck. It runs better than the PS4 version. It runs better than it does on PS4 on PS5, because it is running at 45 frames per second. You can put everything on high and everything looks just as good, except it's on an OLED screen on my Steam Deck OLED, HDR, and at 45 frames per second. It looks better than it ever did on console. So I'm having a really great time playing it.
I almost bought it on PC recently because it was like $15. And I was like, oh, but then I was like, I'm not going to play this right now. I love this game, but I'm not going to play it right now. I need to stop.
That's why I never played it, is because like if I'm going to play it again, I'm probably going to have to play the whole thing again. I never finished it on PS4. So that's why I was like, oh, like, do I want to play it on PS4 again? I don't know. And then I thought, well, I have the PC version, and and I have a
Yeah.
Steam Deck, and I looked up like how it runs on a Steam Deck, and everyone's like, oh, like the problem with Red Dead 2 on the Steam Deck is that it runs so well, it will make you mad that other games that are newer and look worse run worse. Because
funny.
Red Dead 2 still looks better than most games today, and that shit came out in 2018.
Yeah.
And the fact that that game looks better and runs amazingly on the Steam Deck when a game like fucking Star Wars Jedi Fallen Survivor or whatever runs like absolutely jack crap on it, is frustrating, you know?
Yeah.
But that was what got me into it. I was like, oh, it runs like beautifully on the Steam Deck. And, you know, part of the reason why I didn't want to play on the Steam Deck is because you have to check in with the launcher all the time. But, you know, I just signed in one time with the launcher and I never have to sign in again. Like, I'll see the check. But then other than that, though, it's dope.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Steam Deck, I've been playing a ton of games on my Steam Deck. Like, it's been reminding me again, like, why the Steam Deck is actually my favorite console right now. And it's kind of like a preview of the Switch too.
Yeah.
You know, because you know Red Dead 1 is already on the Switch, which I bought and I haven't really played. But Red Dead 2 on Switch 2 will be fun. I'm not sure if I'll play it again on the Switch 2. So.
Yeah. Mike, are you going to play Red Dead 2 on Switch 2?
Oh, God, no. No.
Did you play it before? I forget.
Oh, yeah. I love Red Dead 2. Like Red Dead 1 is my all-time favorite game. When 2 came out, and there was a character named Micah in the game, like, dude, I was over the moon. Like, you have no idea how hyped I was. Literally, I was at work, I'm leaving work, and one of my coworkers came out because there was like a new trailer. I think there was a trailer for the game. He like yelled down the hall. He's like, dude, there's a character named Micah in the game, you know, like, because they all knew how excited I was for it. That was the best part of working at the IT office. Like, everybody else was a gamer as well, and we'd all get so hyped for things.
Oh, that's awesome. That's super cool.
But
I've never had a workplace like that before, ever.
It was
everyone
great.
I've ever worked with has never played games before. I'm always the only guy that's playing video games in the fucking workplace. It fucking sucks, man. Like, I remember when I got the Grand Theft Auto 5 for review in Hawaii, and like in this investigative news started where everyone's all serious and, oh, we're gonna do investigations. I'm like, yo, I just got Grand Theft Auto 5. I was like, you guys have no idea how this is gonna change everything. Grand Theft Auto 5, and it did. I wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I was trying to impress upon everybody, all my coworkers. I was like, this is the game. This is like, it's here, you know? And everyone's like, yeah, whatever. And it's like, oh, this is a GTA 5, baby.
Yeah.
So that must be nice to have coworkers to be like, oh my God, there's a fucking Micah in the Red Dead 2 trailer. Like, I've never had that experience. That's so fun.
That feeling, yeah.
Also reminds me that yeah, Micah, you're the only Micah girl that I know.
Yeah, it's
every
amazing.
Other the first guy I knew named Micah, he was in high school, and I'll never forget one time I just saw him like in the quad of our high school, and he just had his pants down and like his dick and balls out, and like he was lying like facing up, you know, and he didn't like have his pants all the way down, like he just had like enough to like show his dick and balls, right? And I was like, Micah, what the fuck are you doing? And he was like, I'm just giving my boy some sun, man.
He's tanning his balls and dick.
Yeah, just tanning his balls and dick. And I was like, all right, Micah, you know. So every time I think about Micah, I always think about that Micah first before.
That's really funny.
So.
Oh my God, that's the thing. I have known over the years several Micahs, mostly from church, of course. Always dudes, you know. And then it has. You know, it's been a strange life. I remember showing up for college. I was supposed to meet my advisor, right? And he was going to help me pick classes, my very first semester at community college. And I'm waiting for my appointment, and I see him come out of his office, and he kind of looks around, and then he goes back in his office. And in my head, I was like, you are the next appointment. And he kind of didn't look at you. And so, like, you know, 10 o'clock rolls around, and he came out again, and I was like, are you Mr. Wilkins? He's like, yes. I was like, I'm Micah. And he was like, oh. And he was like, oh, all right. And it happened at I showed up for multiple job interviews, and like they would say, oh, we were expecting a man. And, you know, whether that was to my benefit or not, I'll never know. But I got the job. They called me for the interview and I got the job. But yeah, it's happened several times in
It
my
probably
life.
helps you get in the door. They're like, oh fuck, we didn't expect a black woman here. Oh my god, all right, well you're already here anyway, so
Yeah, dude, right? Like you can get rid of DEI if you want to. You're expecting a white man when I show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Micah Watson. Yeah, that could go any sort of way,
Mhm.
So,
Oh, dude, right? Even
Micah
being married now.
Watson. Like you can
Micah.
imagine fucking Arthur saying that. Micah
Yeah.
Watson. Yeah.
Micah. Yeah.
It's exactly what he sounds like.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what happens in the fucking game,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you, Micah.
I don't know about Micah.
Dude, yeah, there's like the mission fail screen where it's like you aggravated Micah, and it's
Yeah.
like perfect React image. I don't get to use it often, but
Yeah,
when I do,
that's good. Yeah, that's really good. You should have had that in your house somewhere. That's awesome. Cool. Anything else, Gene?
Sleeping Dogs. Again, Sleeping Dogs is another game that's very irritating to start. So what I did was I just imported a complete save in Sleeping Dogs and just kind of wandering around and just fighting people and enjoying that. So yeah, I'm already playing games where I have to like finish the game, So it's like on my off time, I'm playing games that I've already finished that I can just kind of enjoy, But yeah, Avowed, pushing through Avowed. I know you'll hear more about that next week. Maybe on Defining Duke. It's been a while since I spoke to Manny and Colin and the boys. So
yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, I think that's about it though. Nothing on Nintendo really. Yeah, that's about it.
We're just kind of waiting. Well, you guys will probably check out Xenoblade, right? Well, at least Micah will.
Actually, I just filled out the NDA for Xenoblade Chronicles X. So
okay. Nice.
I definitely plan to review that because like it is kind of like the last Nintendo Switch game, right?
That we know of, yeah.
It's the last Nintendo Switch game and definitely the last of the Wii U game. So it does feel like an end of it era that I think it'll be fun to write about, and also like not many people still know about the Xenoblade Chronicles. Like it's been really fun to watch the YouTuber and content creator DB Geek. He's fairly big. But he has only recently, in the past few years, discovered the Xenoblade Chronicles franchise, and he loved it. And he just recently finished his run of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and he was like bawling and crying the whole time. And he was like, "Oh my god, this is peak fiction." And I was like, "I know. Welcome to the club." 1.5 million people bought Xenoblade Chronicles 3, for that matter. More people bought Mega Man 11 than big ass Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yeah.
But if I could help the Xenoblade Chronicles franchise in any way, I shall. So,
all right, excellent, Micah.
What
about you? What have you been playing?
I'll be looking forward to hearing about Avowed from you, Gene, because I'm very curious about it, but unsure if it's a game I'd enjoy. So I'll be keeping an eye out. You can
ask me questions after the pod.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting, but. Yeah, I don't know if I can say anything. So yeah,
we'll play it safe. That's fine. I mean, I'll be excited to hear whatever you have to say later on.
There's a lot to say, but it's an interesting game for sure. So,
well, I did finish Borderlands 3. I mainlined the story, skipped the side quests. In previous Borderlands games, when I was having like a really good time, I would do all the side quests, play all the DLC, like couldn't get enough. This was not that feeling. Like the gameplay was really fun, but I was not interested in the side quests. I played one of the DLCs, by accident, but I did the main story, and I was just happy to have it finished. I was just really happy to have this out of the backlog. Like I did it, I finished the game. I don't have to think about it anymore. And it is just a disappointment because I was talking to some of the gang in the Discord, for example, and the biggest thing for me in terms of the humor is that I don't mind the stupid humor, but it just has a place. And for example, a perfect way that they use the humor is the names of the weapons. Like when you pick up a gun and it's called the lubed quickie, you're like, ugh. But it's like, it's funny, and it's also just not in your face as the same way the dialogue is. Right. There's a certain point in Borderlands 3, and I'm saying this because, like, once again, I'm not a Borderlands hater. I'm not the person who like is rolling their eyes the whole game, But it did just, Borderlands 3 was an example of they did take it too far. This was the barbershop quartet episode of Family Guy when they just wouldn't stop. And I remember just being like, you like stop, you better stop right now. And they just kept going, right? And Borderlands 3 is like that, but it's not a 20-minute TV show. It's a 40-hour game. And you're just begging them to stop. So I feel like they just went way overboard with the silly humor. And what I hope to see in the next game is the same. When it comes to the weapons and stupid stuff like that, you can keep that silly and light because it's really not aggravating to have stupid gun names, but it was aggravating to have everyone putting bitches at the end of a sentence, and it was just like peak 2019. You know, like you just feel it. You just feel it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So glad to be done with it and have that off the list. I have been working through Yakuza 7, and I am now on chapter 12, I think. So I'm moving right along through that. It's kind of serendipitous that I didn't get Kingdom Come Deliverance because I have been so into Yakuza 7 that I was going to put it aside and finish it later. But now I was like, well, I guess I'll take these couple days and try and finish this game before I get Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I got super hooked on the management like mini game that's in Yakuza 7. Dude, I wasn't expecting to like it at all. And then I went to my first shareholders meeting and, you know, got completely obliterated. And I was like, I'm not standing for that. And I reloaded like almost an hour worth of gameplay to do it again. From then on, I would always save before the shareholder meetings. But it really did. It was so much fun. The mini games are always fun in those games. But in my head, I was like, I just want to mainline the story and be done with it. And that management mini game got me so good, dude. Like, I hired a guy that looked like Chris, and I had to fire him later on, just like because of downsizing, and I felt real bad. But it was so much fun. I'm still working to get my business to be number 1. I think I'm like number 5 right now, and I'm just having so much fun with just that aspect of it. But I do feel like in terms of the Yakuza series, like what I've played so far, this is not my favorite story. I really like the characters and I like the story overall. But looking back at the intro, like this is one of the slowest moving stories I think they've done. And I've heard that subsequent games also have slow moving stories, but Mamma Mia, like this has a lot of moving parts and a lot of loose threads that they, you know, pick up and put back down, and it's very well done. It's very intricate. But I do just feel like, dude, what are we doing here? Like this is getting so convoluted that I'm looking up guides to like recap the chapters I played simply because I'm like losing the plot of like, wait, what? Why are we doing this? And it's like I watched the whole thing, I read all that text, but it's just getting very, I don't know, very long-winded. So I'm enjoying it. Maybe not as much as like, you know, 0 or 6, but it's still fun. I'm not doing like the side quest. That's how I know I'm not enjoying it as much. It's because in those other games, I was like doing every side quest, every person on the street, I'm talking to them, right? And in this one, I'm just trying to get through the missions and get them done. I do like the combat a lot, but I'm not enjoying it as much just because the story, man, it's going slow, Gene.
It's slow and there's a lot of side quests, you know, and the side quests slow you down, you know. I think that was the problem with Infinite Wealth that a lot of people had, and you know, I replayed a little bit of it, and it's like, man, they really like force you down like some side quests, and it's like, I kind of just want to keep the story going, you know. I don't need to hear about the Aloha Happy, you know, photograph tour or whatever, you know. So I do think that that's a problem that they need to fix. And it kind of started in Yakuza 7. So so yeah, it's interesting that you kind of identified that as an early problem too. Yeah.
Right, because, you know, Yakuza 0, for example, had some really off-the-wall side missions. And the thing is that they were still usually pretty quick. They were still usually these just, either it's a little fetch quest or it's you're going to look for something, but these missions didn't take very long. And then they had like, you know, the wacky, zany quality. You know, it's that guy, Mr. Libido, walking around in his underwear. Like, it was random and weird and interesting. And then in this one, there's not only just so many side quests, but some of them are just not very interesting. So yeah,
Mm.
I'm just not feeling it this time around, and I do just want to get through the story. I'm having more fun with the gameplay because the more moves you unlock, the much more varied it becomes. I'll say that part of what makes this game feel very slow in the intro is simply not having many moves and not having a full party.
Sure.
Like when you're starting out and you only have 3 party members for a while, and you only have a couple moves for each one, it gets very boring to keep watching the same move sets over and over. And then you finally unlock the different jobs and you finally unlock more moves and more party members to switch between, but that takes a very long time.
If
So
anything, they fixed that in Infinite Wealth because the combat is a lot more engaging. That there's a lot more different moves, and then they do give you like a party like kind of quicker than like a dragon did. So yeah,
that's excellent to know. Because I definitely do want to continue playing the series. I'm enjoying the game overall. I can see why I dropped it. The listener inquiry we had a couple weeks ago of what's a game you dropped and then picked up later and it was the right time for it. This is Yakuza 7 for me
it's
right
a long
now.
game. Yeah.
Right. And at the time it came, when I was playing it last year and I dropped it, and I'm pretty sure it was for Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door. And then I think the following month, something else had come out, a different new game came out, and I was like playing that instead, and I just didn't get back to this. And I can see why I was burnt out on it, because I played about 10 hours, and in that 10 hours, it just was like, yeah, I still have barely any moves for these guys, and all the battles feel the same. And now that I'm further in the game, every battle feels so different and so varied, and I have all these skills I can use, and it's just way more fun now. So I will say, and like that's the other thing, the management minigame, I didn't even unlock that. Well, I think I had unlocked it at the time I dropped the game, but I hadn't started it yet. But it's like that's something that you don't get right away. And that's also the mildest of mild spoilers. All I'm going to say is that playing the management game helps you unlock another party member. And so if you don't do that, then like you miss out on somebody else. So it just is like these things are all tied together, and it takes a lot to actually feel like you're really in the game and have options. So I do like it, plan to finish it, plan to keep playing the series, but it's not for me the strongest entry in the series of what I've played so far. I also realized I do own the Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 collection for PlayStation, but I'm probably just going to get them like what I think I might do. I'm going to say the bad word. I might sign up for a month of Game Pass and play through those at some point because they're on Game Pass. And it's like, I already bought them, the collection physical. I don't really want to pay $20 each for them. So I might end up doing that at some point and then canceling Game Pass later. But yeah. The goal is to keep playing the Yakuza games. I'm back in it. I'm back in the mix.
Okay. So you've played 0, 6, and now this?
I've played 0, Kiwami 1 and 2, and then 6 came out. And I was not going to be like spoiled on it. So I just went ahead and played it. I still haven't played 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
And I just was like, I'm playing 6. And then I played Judgment when that came out. I was like, I'm going to play 7, and
you played so much more of the Yakuza series than like most people at this point. That's great.
Yeah. Well, and I'm excited to go back to the old ones. I know people have their problems with them, but they are shorter games. So it's like, as much as I love 0, it's like this is a huge game. Huge. And
I think 5's long. I think it's either 4 or 5.
Yeah, that is longer than the other 2. But like, yeah, when I went and checked like on how long to beat, and I was like, okay, 3 and 4 are more normal sized games. So I do want to get to those and just check them out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to be back to the series because I was really excited for the pirate one, for example, but I'm nowhere near caught up. And then I was starting to feel discouraged because like I'm never going to get there.
Okay, cool. Anything else, Micah, since you can't play KCD2 yet?
No, I'm going to keep working on Yakuza 7. If by some chance I beat it before I get KCD2, I'll probably just play Balatro. I still haven't played my Switch copy of that yet, so I might give that a go. I don't want to start anything else that's like a long game,
I get it. Totally get it. All right, cool. Very nice, Micah. I'm actually going to start KCD2 today, Micah. I bought it.
I could
PC.
fucking kill you. I could reach through the screen right now and
Got it.
just grab you by the neck and just and you know what? I would grab you by the neck and I would ram your neck down on your keyboard. It's like one of those mechanical keyboards, like the sharp pointy ones. But that's what I would do.
Haven't played the first one, but Lockmort made a recap video, and it's very nice. Gets you right up to speed on the story. So I'm ready. Henry, he needs his sword. There you go. There's the game. That's the game. So I got it for $45
Switch,
too.
though. Brad, just play the first one on Switch.
No, I already have it on PC.
Quick 48-hour adventure.
Yeah, quick 48-hour adventure. No. But I promised Locke I would do it, so I'm there. I'm ready to go. $45, I'm in. No big deal. So I've been playing on stream Pokemon Black and White. Now, Micah, you're talking about how Game Freak, the Pokemon company, kind of shit in the bed with Pokemon entries recently. You know, Scarlet and Violet, Sword and Shield, just whatever. Well, Scarlet and Violet, dog shit, but Sword and Shield, whatever. Black and White, this feels like Game Freak really shooting for the stars in a lot of ways on the DS. It feels very ambitious for DS. It uses like the sprite work. It's the last one that uses sprite work, and they look so good, actually, the Pokemon. They actually like move in combat, which I did not expect, so I was impressed by Game Freak there. There's some really cool like camera cinematic tricks. Like there's big metropolises actually in this game. I'm used to various small towns with like 4 buildings or something like that, but now one of them's like a huge city like New York City and stuff like that. So it's really cool to see them get a little more ambitious with the game. The only thing I'd say is the starters aren't super great. They're okay. I picked the pig, the fire pig. He's pretty cool actually, though I named him Ganon, of course. But I always pick the water one. But this time I was like, all right, let's do fire this time. Because the water one is like that little otter. And he looks cute. But then later on, he looks kind of scuffed. So I was like, I don't want that. So I got a cool fire pig right now. But so far, so good. Still playing through it. Playing on an emulator because I'm not spending $100 to play that game right now. Because that's how much it is. And I don't have a way to... I'd have to mod a 3DS to play it on there. Or a DS, I mean. So that's not happening. But anyways, continuing with that. I've been playing the Mega Man games slowly. I've done 1 through 3, and I'm like halfway through 4. And I talked to Colin about this yesterday for over an hour. So check out Summon Sign if you want to hear that. Colin was very happy to talk about Mega Man, so it was cool. So we talk about all that kind of stuff.
Well, dude, I was just joking. It's like 2-person episode of Summon Sign, but it's not necessarily a shorter episode because it's Colin.
No. Yeah, I knew it'd be a totally fine episode. I like doing 2 people episodes every now and then. I've done one with Gene and stuff in the past, which were fun.
Yeah, that's right. Just
depends on what we got and the flow of everything. But yeah, check that out if you want to hear me talk about more about Mega Man. And I played a little bit of Dark Cloud, which is an old PS2 game.
Yeah,
a level 5 game. I really liked it when it came out back in the day. It's 2001 early PS2 game developed by Level 5. Sony owned IP and published. Interesting game where it's kind of like, it reminds me of ActRaiser in the sense that one part of the game is you going into dungeons and collecting stuff and progressing to new floors. And the other part of the game is building a town. So basically your town gets destroyed and you have to rebuild it. You can go in the dungeon. You get pieces of like, let's say you get your house is an item you can get in the dungeon or someone else's house or a windmill, stuff like that. And you place it on this grid and make your own town. And there's people you can rescue and put back in their like houses and stuff like that. And they give you tasks that they want for their houses. Like, oh, I want to be able to feel the sun rise when I wake up. So you put their house like on the east side of the town, stuff like that. It's been really delightful. Yeah. It's very
I was thinking
cheerful.
like, so you take the roof off their house. So
no, I mean, maybe you could do that. You can't, it's not that advanced where you're like customizing the house in the sense they have like a layout already and just kind of put stuff, like attach stuff to it. But it's been delightful so far. I liked it a lot when it came out back in the day. It's pretty hardcore in the sense that you need water and stuff when you're in the dungeon. So you have like a thirst meter. So you got to look out for that. Your weapons break. So Mike is out. It's definitely, I think it's the first game I can remember with weapon durability. And it's something you got to monitor pretty frequently. So kind of hardcore. You know, I got poisoned a lot and your health gets ticked down. You die, you lose like half your money. So pretty hardcore, but a delightful game. I don't know if I'll finish it, but I just really felt like playing it right now. I loved it when it came out, but there's also Dark Cloud 2 later on, which I think is a better game, but I'm more nostalgic for Dark Cloud 1. Also, really good soundtrack. Really good. Bring it back, Sony. Get Dark Cloud 3 going. All right. And in terms of anything else, I think that's it. I'm going to start KCD 2 today. So I think that's it for me right now. Sorry, Mike. I know I keep bringing it up.
It's just like, dude, it's just such a Micah thing to happen. Like
I know.
I was so excited. I'm like, I'm gonna start going to GameStop again. I'm gonna have a little sense of community because I remember I was telling Colin the GameStop back home. I had like there was this one dude that always worked there, was super nice, and like we'd always chat him up, right? And then there was this manager who was kind of a surly, sour guy, but he got to get to know us, and then he'd be nice to us, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like that, you know. It was nice. It was nice having my own little GameStop, and I'm like, we were so close.
They burned the
We were
bridge
so
again.
close. I swear to God, if I go to pick up Xenoblade Chronicles X and something's wrong with it, I'm gonna start screaming. I'm gonna end up going viral on the internet. I would never do that to the service workers, but
No,
God
of course
Almighty,
not.
do
Yeah.
I want to?
Yeah.
Did I
absolutely.
want to slam that man's head down on the keyboard? Of course I did.
Yeah.
I never would.
Do a heat action on him? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, did I want to go into the breaker style
Yeah.
and start hitting him with some windmill kicks?
Yeah.
Absolutely I did.
Oh, I beat Dragon Quest 3 finally.
Oh.
Took me a
Oh,
while.
wonderful.
I had to grind definitely at some spots. I got to a guy, like a boss late in the game, and he just fucking wiped the floor with me. I was like, oh my God. And I looked up. I'm like, okay, I wonder what what level you're supposed to be when you fight this guy. And I was like 6 levels lower than you're supposed to be. And I was like, fuck, all right, it's time to grind. But found those metal slimes, grinded away. No king metal slime, though. I was bummed out. I love the king metal slime. He's so cute. But it must be in later entries. But yeah, I'm happy I'm finished the game. There's a whole post game I haven't done yet, though. But it was a good game. The story is like kind of non-existent whatsoever. And like one important narrative scene happens. And I was like, oh, that's it? All right. Okay. All right. I guess we're just moving on. Okay. And that was it. And I was like, all right, game's done. Okay. All right. So that's Dragon Quest 3, but still really fun. I'm happy I got to go through it all the way. So shout out. I'm excited for 1 and 2, though, to go through those as well whenever they come out this year, sometime. Okay. So with all the Xbox news, a bunch of stuff's coming to PlayStation, more stuff's coming out now, but we got some Switch 2 things coming out, perhaps. A couple leakers reporting. This one leaker, what's his name? Xtest1S, saying that Forza Horizon 5 is coming to Switch 2. So that's one more for the docket, which could be pretty interesting. I'm curious to see how that runs. Because it's a really
I feel
fun
like
game.
You can just make up any leak about Xbox games coming to whatever, and you'll be accurate. Like, it doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah, you could. I suppose so. They've been all pretty much right so far. So, yeah, but it's just another one.
Here's a leak. Gears of War will be on Switch 2 for me, you know?
Yeah.
I have no sources or anything like that, but I know that it'll happen, so.
Here's one. Viva Pinata will not be on Switch 2. I'm sorry, Micah.
You didn't have to. You just didn't have to do that, Brad.
That's the thing, though. Like, I was thinking about saying Viva Pinata, but I was like, I don't think Microsoft even remembers fucking Viva Pinata exists.
Yes.
I think like Phil Spencer is the only person that remembers, and he will never mention it to anyone. You know.
Because
Matt Booty doesn't give a fuck. You know.
No.
Sarah Bond still just got there, so she doesn't know what the fuck Viva Pinata is.
What is this? So. Yeah.
This is after all the nice things I've said about Phil Spencer over the years too, and this is how he repays me. You know, after all the kind words I gave him, despite the feelings of others at this network.
He's a sly man.
Yeah,
he's sly man. He
I
got
made all
you,
those.
Micah.
Dude, when they bought Activision, I made him all those memes. You know, Daddy buy Activision for kitten. I made him all those memes. All right, I made the anti Jim Ryan memes, and this is how he repays me. You know.
Yeah. No Viva Pinata for Micah.
None.
Or Micah.
None. I asked both Maddie and Chris to use their powers, you know, because both of them have just a knack for being like, I wish this game existed, and then it happens. And even they couldn't make it work. Both of them tweeted about it, never came out.
The closest you can get is Rare Replay, maybe. But that's still not
that shit.
I do. Banjo-Kazooie's on there. I certainly do. Don't worry, I'm with you.
I'll send you my scratched up copy.
Yeah, I mean, I got
on my Xbox 8.
Oh, I fuck that game. I don't want that dog shit. I only want the first two. Nuts and Bolts sucks. I hate that game.
Dude, like that's the one that like I put it in my Xbox and I don't know what happened, but it just made a very loud noise and like it completely fucked the disc. And it was the double pack with Viva Pinata. And I was like, thank God I tested that disc first, because then Viva Pinata was fine, but it's like, I don't know what happened. But Xbox didn't like that game. And he's like, don't play this. Do not play this.
Yeah. It's brutal. Also, there was a job posting for Perfect Dark. And a thing about the job posting was they were saying experience with like other platforms. So there is a chance that Perfect Dark will come to Switch 2 as well. Makes sense. Perfect Dark was an N64 game. So it'd be really cool to see that on there. I don't know if I'd play it on Switch 2 because it'll be stanky on there, of course. But
it stinks either way. We don't want this. We don't want this. Nobody wants this.
What, Perfect Dark?
No.
Nobody wants Perfect Dark.
I tried the 360 one and it was horrible.
Yeah, 360
that's the only
one
I ever played. Well, yeah, well, that's the only one I ever played.
The 64 one was the best.
Sucks.
Yeah, 64 one was where it's at. But I understand that if you've only played 0. But it's coming back, Micah. Whether you like it or not. Viva Pinata, on the other hand, dead. Those little pinatas are dead, rotting somewhere in the ground.
The candy inside them is turned to dust.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm expecting to see something from Microsoft along these lines at the reveal, the more in-depth reveal in April. So we shall see, because everything's coming off Xbox. All right, guys, we also got some Switch numbers because Nintendo had like their earnings report today or earlier last night, one of the two. And we got some updates on the Switch hardware. First of all, the Switch is at 150 million right now, which is 10 million behind PS2, which is the top. So Switch is going to probably hit that. I'm assuming are close to it. So that's very exciting. Switch a huge success. We'll see if that continues. First of all, what do you guys think about that? 150 million Switches sold.
I mean, it would have tied with the PS2 if Jim Ryan didn't find those extra 10 million back, right?
Exactly. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nintendo
he was just trying to save his job.
Right? I guess.
Ryan was just trying to save his job.
I got 10 million PS2s here. Just buy these right now. And he sold them off to, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. Nancy Pelosi
for however million, and they're like, "No, see, we sold
PS2,
160 million PS2s. I have a way, And then, it made him look good. I don't know.
There's something really funny about that. Nancy Pelosi, like Dick Cheney bought a bunch of them as well, or something.
Yeah.
They're big on the PS2 library. Yeah. She's really into Gran Turismo.
Ukraine,
Yeah. But 150 million, a very impressive number. So I'm sure they'll hit 160 in a year or two. But Nintendo has like cut some of their sales expectations because let's see, Nintendo lowers their forecast again as Switch sales decline 30%. Not a surprise though, I suppose, because we're at the end of it. Everyone's just waiting for the Switch 2. They've announced the Switch 2, so we're at the end of the road with Switch. And I also saw something about Nintendo saying they would continue to supporting the Switch if the demand was there for it. And I'm like, please don't. No more. Just stop. Please stop. Let it die. For God's sakes, let that poor system die. You've done enough, Switch. But what do you think? Sales, their expectations were down. Surprising at all to you guys, or nothing to worry about?
They're fine.
No, I wouldn't say surprised because it's like this is year 8, right? Switch was 2017. It's 8 years. It's just we are going to get to a point where everyone who has wanted one bought one. And of course, now that we know that Switch 2 is imminent, there are several of our listeners who have written to us and said, well, I'm going to wait for Switch 2. I kind of wanted a Switch this whole time. It makes sense to wait for Switch 2 since it's backwards compatible confirmed. And so, yes, numbers declining. It's like they're certainly not going to pick back up again. Maybe you put it on a deep discount and some people say, okay, I'll get one. But especially now that we know the Switch 2 is imminent, yeah, it's of course.
Yeah. I saw something also Nintendo saying they're like preparing to fight against scalpers in some way, some sort of system to help with that with Switch 2. I don't know what the hell you can necessarily do, but I am interested to see what they're gonna do. But it sounds like there's
you put
what?
rats in every pallet. You put rats in like 6 of the boxes. So if some guy buys 30 of them, he's going to get a whole bunch of rats. And if you only bought one, you might get one rat. And that's not as big of a problem.
Yeah, one rat.
Big deal. One rat. I can handle one rat. But if you're a scalper and you ordered like 60 of these things, get fucking ready. You have rats all over the place.
I really like that idea, Micah. I think that's really good. Rat bombs. That's awesome. We also got some first party game updates from this as well. So I'll just go through and name some of them. Of course, number 1 is Mario Kart so this is updated as December, the end of 2024 December. 67 million copies sold. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Insane. Horizon or Animal Crossing New Horizons 8 where's the number? 47 million. Also insane to me as well. Good Lord. Number 3 is Smash Brothers with 35 million. Number 4 is Breath of the Wild, 32 million. Number 5, Super Mario Odyssey with 29 million. Number 6 is Pokemon Sword and Shield, 26 million. Number 7 is Scarlet and Violet with 26 million. Good Lord. And number 8, I'm happy to see Tears of the Kingdom here with 21 million. It's really depressing to me that Scarlet and Violet sold more than Tears of the Kingdom, but that's the power of Pokemon. Number 9 is Super Mario Party, which is actually a really fun one. 21 million. Number 10 is New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, which is strange. Well, I guess not strange, but kind of surprising because it was just an okay Mario game. But I guess it doesn't even matter. That Mario sells. Number 11, Super Mario Wonder. 15 million.
Yeah, Mario Wonder just came out, and it's already catching up to Mario Brothers U Deluxe, which came out in fucking 2012.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Super Mario Wonder was really fun.
That's huge. Like,
yeah,
because I remember when Mario Wonder dropped, it was like, oh yeah, it sold like 1 million over a week, and everyone's like, Mario has no gas, and it's like, no, Mario doesn't sell out the gate. Yeah. Mario will just sell millions over lifetime, which is clearly what she's doing with
Mario
right now.
Has forever gas. He never runs out of gas. He's never going to run out of gas. Don't ever doubt that little Italian plumber, okay? Number 12, we had Ring Fit Adventure, 15 million. Number 13, we had Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee with 15 million. Then 14, we have Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. 15, we have Pokemon Arceus with 14 million. And 16, Nintendo Switch Sports with 14 million. Did you guys play this, or do you know anyone that played this?
I played it for a bit, but this was like while I had cancer, so
okay.
it was not like the best time for me to be active with the Nintendo Joy-Cons. So
absolutely not a great time.
Yeah, hey, this one though, it was really cute UI. It really like hard. If you really are nostalgic for Wii Sports, like this is the best way to do it.
I remember it didn't have a lot of games when it came out. They like added sports later on through DLC. Yeah. It's like, okay, guys, come on. Like drip feeding me Switch Sports. Like, let's go, guys.
Yeah, that's the perfect example of this DLC is just completing the game and you shipped an unfinished product. Like for the most part, when it comes to games like Borderlands, I'm not going to subscribe to the idea that the DLC should have been included all along. It's like some of these are like really long, right? You're adding, 10 extra hours of content, let's say.
Yeah.
But something like this, where it's like, and now we're going to add the rest of the sports. It's like, this should have been finished.
Yeah.
It really just should have been finished.
100%. Good one right here, Gene. At 17, Luigi's Mansion has sold 14 million. Very nice. Great game. 18, Super Mario 3 World plus Bowser's Fury. Also great game. 13 million. 19, Splatoon 2. 13 million. And number 20, Mario Party Superstars, which has sold 12 million. So that's just the top 20. It keeps going, but we'll just do top 20. Oh, wait, Kirby, though. I got to say Kirby. Hold on. Super Mario 3D All-Stars, 9 million. Not bad for a kind of a shitty port of the 3 games. Well, Galaxy's okay, but Sunshine and 64 could be way better. And Kirby, I'm going to say this, Kirby, 7.52 million. Not bad, Kirby. Way to go, little dude. That's probably the highest selling Kirby game.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out Kirby, our boy Kirby. Are they going to make him white again, Micah?
It would be funny if they followed suit. It's like, oh, we're getting rid of DEI and Black History Month. Goodbye, Pink Kirby, and then just make him white.
Going
Make
back
him
to
a
your
nice
roots.
Make him a nice beige, though. It would be funny if it was like, here's Kirby's cousin, and he's like,
Yeah.
white.
Burby.
That'd be fun.
Kerbo.
Corby.
Yeah. Corby.
I
Yeah.
call him Kerbo usually. Like I'm almost always calling him Kerbo at home.
That's
You know what's
awesome.
interesting about Kirby and Forgotten Lands 7.52 million is that it outsold Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know,
That's why Bloodborne didn't get a sequel.
That's right.
That's kind of like why Bloodborne doesn't get a sequel or remaster, because it's like it would take so much effort. It would need Miyazaki's input, only to be blasted by the next Kirby game. You know.
Let's see.
That's the thing. Like we're at like 20th place for Nintendo's best-selling games, and like for PlayStation 4, like the 10 million games end at number 10 with Ghost of Tsushima. You know.
Yeah, I think Horizon sold a lot. The first Horizon, I think that sold a lot of copies. According to just Google, Bloodborne, as of February 2022, sold 7.46 million copies.
Yeah, that's less than
For
Kirby and
Souls-like,
Forgotten Lands, man.
For a Souls-like
game,
aside,
a more iconic game, you know.
Yeah, for a Souls-like aside from Elden Ring, I think that's pretty good. Elden Ring was like insane, but for a PS4 only game, not too bad.
That's good. Yeah, obviously, yeah, it's a console exclusive. But you know what's also a console exclusive is Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Yeah. Kirby's, I guess, just more mainstream. I guess, I don't know, but Nintendo is just insane. Nintendo games sell ridiculous amounts of copies.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know,
like Brilliant Diamond and
Part 2,
Shining Pearls,
outsold by Luigi's Mansion 3. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And it deserves it. It absolutely deserves it.
Can't stop Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
They're crazy.
You know who worked on Luigi's Mansion 3? The original cutscene director for Silent Hill and Silent Hill 2.
Really? Cool.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's where he works now. He just like fucked off after finishing Silent Hill and was like, I guess I'll just work in Nintendo and nobody will ever hear from me again. But I'll just be making lots and lots of money making some
lots
awesome
of cool games,
you know?
Yeah.
He was the cutscene director. He's the guy who like directed James like covering his face and like doing that. Like he was the guy who like filmed himself doing that.
Yeah.
And now he did all the cutscenes for Luigi's Mansion 3, and they're beautiful.
Yeah. I think Luigi's Mansion 4 should be survival horror then. Going forward, psychological survival horror. Get rid of the vacuum. He gets a plank of wood like James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's screaming.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yay. Yeah. He's like killing some guy. Oh, yay. Or so. He's so good.
And Professor Egad will force him to do that, you know, because that's what Professor Egad does. He forces Luigi into adventures without his consent, you know.
Yes, he does. Poor Luigi.
Yeah.
All right. Guys, let's end the show with some write-ins from the audience, questions, all that good stuff. If you want to write into this show, I post a thread every Sunday on Patreon calling for your submissions, so keep an eye out there. Okay, this is from Severance Worker. Hey, Pup Crew. With the recent news that Nintendo was quietly trying to sue a Costa Rica family that owned a grocery store named Super Mario in Costa Rica for over 52 years, a lawsuit Nintendo rightfully just lost, at what point does the industry or the legal system step in and tell Nintendo to stop? Between seeking the personal information of users of emulation forums, suing developers over game mechanics, and now a grocery store, I just feel they're starting to fly too close to the sun with all the lawsuits. Micah, what do you think about all this?
I didn't hear about this, so this is just like bewildering to know that they tried to sue this grocery store family. I mean, the thing is though that when is anyone going to tell them to stop? I mean, never, because that's just how the world works. You know, you have money, you could try and sue people. It was a whole saga. There was this like web like cartoon artist I follow on Twitter like for years. And he got embroiled in a legal battle because essentially he agreed to make like a board game with this company, with his webcomic. And then they tried to say that the contract allowed them like full control of all his art forever.
Whoa.
And he spent like 5 years battling this lawsuit. They finally settled it. But it was just like, and it was completely not correct. Like he did not sign over the rights to all his art and all this stuff. And the point just being that anyone who can afford a lawyer can have one and can clog up the legal system and tie up your life with paperwork and make you miserable. So unfortunately, it does feel like Nintendo gets some of these lawsuits very, very wrong. But who's going to tell them to stop? Nobody.
Yeah.
they have more money. What, you can't tell them to stop.
Yeah. It's really funny just going after like a market that's been around for 52 years.
In Costa Rica?
Yeah, Costa Rica. It's crazy, dude. What do you think about this, Gene?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it actually happened. You know, as to the question of when is the legal system going to tell Nintendo to stop, I mean, it's not going to. That's what the legal system does. You know, this is what the legal system is. This is what all the quote unquote woke people talk about when they talk about systemic this and systemic that. That's the systemic things that people are complaining about. That a big corporation could just bully a small business into lawsuits. That's exactly what big companies do. You know, lawsuits are very expensive, so you threaten lawsuits to kind of, you know, bully people out of business. That's what the system is. You know, so you can't say when will the system stop when the system is working as it's supposed to. It is supposed to be crushing small business. Change that.
All right.
Change that, you know, to talk to your lawmakers. The only way you can change the legal system is to get the lawmakers to make laws to change the legal system. That's the only way you can do about it. That's the simplest way I can put about it. Instead of complaining about, you know, why things don't change or why grocery prices are so expensive, you know, that's why you vote, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nintendo got embarrassed, and I know they did not like that. They don't like to get embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they lost a lawsuit, which is new, you know. So.
Yeah. All right. This is from Bono Clay. Hey, punchers. Resident Evil 4 turned 20 years old on January 11th. I was in high school at the time and adored Resident Evil. I remember shoveling my neighbor's driveway for for the last bit of money I needed. My dad driving me to GameStop and buying a used GameCube with a new RE4 copy labeled only for GameCube. It was the only game I ever bought at full price up to the point and was totally worth it. I bought the remake physically at GameStop after work to relive that experience a little. Do you guys have any RE4 memories or memories of buying a new console solely for one specific game? Keep up the great work. Jane, let's start with you with Resident Evil 4. Obviously, you and me played this, or I've played this before. Did you play it right away on GameCube?
I bought the GameCube for Wind Waker and Metroid Prime. Mm-hmm. I think Metroid Prime was actually the game that got me to buy the GameCube. But I was a huge Resident Evil fan. I didn't even know about Resident Evil 4 until it came out, and I saw all the reviews for it, and it was getting all these 10s. I had no idea Resident Evil 4 was planned at all. I remember seeing the Hookman demo for it, and I was like, oh, that's weird for Resident Evil to just actually be about ghosts now. And then I didn't hear about anything since. I wasn't, you know, this is before the internet. So I was just paying attention to, you know, I mean, the internet existed, but it wasn't like widespread, you know. I wasn't checking game trailers, you know, your old job for news all the time, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, once I saw the reviews drop for RE4, I was like, well, I guess I have to check it out. And I played it, and it changed my life forever. And now it's my favorite game of all time. So,
damn. I
don't know what else to say about RE4 that I haven't already said before.
Magical game. But yeah, I definitely remember because, you know, growing up with Mike Huber, he's a huge RE fan. Mm-hmm. And I remember he drove far to get a demo disc of RE4. And I remember just coming to his house and seeing it and just been like blown away. I'd never seen anything like that. Like that was an insane change for Resident Evil at the time. Going from 1 remake to 2 or 0 remake to that was crazy. I played that game so much. I loved that game a lot. Micah, have you ever played Resident Evil 4?
No, I've never played a Resident Evil game. They seem way too scary.
Too scary? Okay. You could play 4 though. You like Gears of War and stuff like that.
Yeah, is it like it's like that?
No, I mean it's not quite as like that, but it's more action than survival horror. More in the action lane. Put it on easy, cruiser, you got it. Play it on your G Cloud.
Play it, I'll watch it. I'll watch the Grumps play it. I watched them play Village after I watched Colin already play it. You know, so if they play it, I'll watch.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, Do you have any memories, I guess, of buying a new console solely for one specific game, Micah?
Not really, and I say that partly because having always like dated another gamer, we would, pool our money to own all three systems, so it's like we always would have a PlayStation, whatever Nintendo was doing, and an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal was just to always own each system, each generation, and we would just pool our money and do that. So we never had like, oh, we have to buy, an Xbox for this, because it's like, oh, we're going to try and buy one. I will say the priority was always Xbox. Like my ex and I both were like very much into Xbox 360. So that was always the priority. And, like we got a PS4 late. But it was like, we're going to get one eventually. It was just a matter of the priority was, well, we're going to get into Xbox next, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, like even when Wii U came out and I got mine, late just because I was saving up for it. But there wasn't a single game I wanted for it. It was just like, I just want to be able to play whatever Nintendo shits out over these next couple of years. So no, I don't really have that distinct feeling, because for me, it was always a goal to just own one of each console anyways.
Yeah. I definitely bought a PlayStation for Final Fantasy VII. When I saw that, I was like, holy shit. That's it. Pulled the trigger right then.
Yeah.
And especially like if I did it, Metal Gear would have been one of them I also did it for, because it's just revolutionary time in gaming. It was awesome.
It was Final Fantasy for me. Once I remember seeing in Game Fan magazine that Final Fantasy was no longer going to be on Nintendo 64, and it was going to be on PlayStation. And
yeah,
I remember seeing those early 3D models of Final Fantasy VI being in 3D, and I was like,
yeah,
yo, Final Fantasy going to look like that pretty soon. And then Final Fantasy VII came out, and I was like, okay, yeah, PlayStation is where it's at right now. Yeah. That's how you grow out of. That's how you graduate out of Nintendo.
Oh yeah, graduate. Oh yeah, it's so funny. But shout out Resident Evil 4. Love you. Thanks for the great times.
Yeah, seminal game.
All right, this is from Kurt, aka Big Juicy. Oh. Hey there, Monty Mole Eaters. I'm more than halfway through Dragon Quest III Remake right now, and I'm wondering where to go next. I'm considering pivoting to Dragon Quest Builders 2 since it looks like a fun combination of Terraria and Minecraft in Dragon Quest World. However, I'm also feeling inspired by Micah and thinking about biting the bullet and buying a copy of Dragon Quest IX for the DS, since a lot of people online seem to consider that one great. What do you guys think? I've also thought about buying 8 on PS2 since I have a RetroTink 5X and LG C3. Where do I go after 3? So many options, thanks.
After 3, there is no better option than Dragon Quest 11. Period.
Yeah, I would recommend 11 probably.
Yeah, story-wise too, theme-wise, everything is in Dragon Quest 11, and it is the best one, actually.
Yeah, I think
8 is probably the other one.
Yeah, 8's my favorite, but yeah. I think 11's probably a better spot to go.
But 11 is the way to go, like without doubt. Dragon Quest Builders 2 is cool. I haven't played it, so if you definitely are in the mood for like a creative game, that's still a game that I want to play too. I'm just I was kind of in a creative mode, and that's why I bought it, and then I stopped being in that mode. So
yeah, it has a co-op as well, so if you got someone to play with, you can have fun with doing all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Big Juicy, it pretty much is Minecraft Terraria version of Dragon Quest, which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
With Dragon Quest 8 though, the only thing, so the PS2 version is good. That's the original version. It has really good music because it's the actual like orchestra music in it, not the MIDI like the 3DS. But the 3DS has some things like extra party members, 2 new party members, and you can see the monsters on the field. So if that's important to you, it can help you get through the game, because some of those random encounters are brutal in 8. Good Lord. I think there's some balancing changes in the 3DS version as well. So maybe to do that one of mine, but the PS2 version's awesome as well. So can't go wrong, but I would go with Gene. Get 11S on whatever platform you want to play on. Mm-hmm. It's on everything pretty much. Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, PC. Micah, what do you think? Any recommendations for them? For Big Juicy?
I mean, definitely follow what you guys say, because for me, I've only played 8, which I have not finished yet, and 3. I do own Dragon Quest Builders 2, and I do plan to get to that this year. because I love Minecraft. It's a big reason why I bought it is because I do just love Minecraft. And I was like, add some new flavor to it, basically. Yeah. But I can't recommend it personally because I have not tried it yet.
Sure. Okay. Well, either way, you're going to have a good time playing Dragon Quest. Okay, this is from Roku. Hey there, punchers. Could each of you recommend to me one underappreciated Switch game that does not get talked about enough, despite how great it is? For me, I would like to recommend Bayonetta prequel game, Bayonetta Origins, Cereza in the Lost Demon. With all the recent noise surrounding Platinum, I feel that Bayonetta Origins rarely gets mentioned. As someone who has played every Bayonetta game, I strongly believe that Bayonetta Origins is the best in the series, if not Platinum's best game. To preface it, not a character action game, but rather something akin to Okami. It has a gorgeous art style, fresh mechanics, and enduring fairy tale story that got me teary-eyed by the end. If you can't think of any Switch games to recommend, I'm open to any Nintendo console exclusive games too. Thanks. Honestly, I just wanted an excuse to talk about this amazing game. All right. I can't think of any Switch exclusives off the top of my head that are
other than like Astral Chain or a bunch of other games that we already talked about,
Yeah, like Triangle Strategy will always get a shout out from me of like, this game was so good for anyone who loves strategy RPGs like I do. If you're a Fire Emblem enthusiast, Triangle Strategy is like a must play.
Yeah, it's on PC though, Micah, so it's not Switch exclusive. Sorry. No, I'm just kidding. That's a good one though. I do like that game a lot as well. GameCube, play Chibi Robo. Weird ass game. There you go. Okay. And let's see. Final writing here from Steven Campos. Hey guys, I wanted to get something off my chest with this post. I low-key loved the era when companies tried to make the exact same game that was released on a console but on portable systems.
Yeah.
For example, King Kong was released on Xbox 360 and GameCube, and they tried to make the exact same game but for the DS and PSP, and it was not the exact same game, but a different game entirely. I miss when we would get a game like Call of Duty Black Ops on Xbox 360 and the DS version. I hate the argument, but it would be low resolution and stuff. No, I was one of the few people that sincerely loved playing portable DS, Game Boy, and PSP versions of console games, no matter if they were shitty. I love that we got SmackDown versus Raw on the DS, or Madden NFL on the 3DS, or hell, even a shitty low-res The Sims version on the DS and 3DS.
Preach.
I can't be the only one here. There was a charm in seeing companies attempting to bring console games to portable during that era. With the Switch, that the era is dead. We now just get the console version of the Switch, but it just has bad frame rate. Brad, Gene, and Micah, please defend my argument for advocating for games like Zoo Tycoon on the DS, Age of Empires on the DS, My Sims, The Sims, and Viva Pinata. Who gives a fuck if those were shitty ports? I loved those games for what they were.
Hell yeah, man.
Call of Duty on DS was a good game. Guitar Hero was a good game on the DS. Yes, I understand there were shitty ports, but am I wrong for supporting these games?
Oh, this is my favorite write in a long time. I could not agree more with Mr. Steven Campos. I think that's a very unique thing that people our age grew up with. I thought it was amazing. There was a Japanese only version of Street Fighter 2 that was on the NES, and they were all chibi form versions of like Guile and Ryu and Zangief and all that stuff, and it looked completely different with a completely different art style and a completely different like combat system. And it was unique and it was interesting. They would just be completely different games. So I totally get the vibe that like, man, like the Nintendo Switch version of The Witcher 3 is exactly the same as The Witcher 3, just uglier, as opposed to like a unique version of The Witcher 3 or like Metal Gear Solid Ghost Babel or whatever, or Portable Ops, right? Like you're actually trying to... I mean, Portable Ops is not like a remake of Metal Gear 3, but it is like the last time when you try to squeeze in a console-like experience into a different platform, basically, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting that right now, that vibe right now with again with my Steam Deck, and when you play Spider-Man 2, which just released on it,
yeah,
it actually runs kind of better than the larger like PCs would. Like there's less stutters because it's on a lower frame rate and a lower texture. So the Steam Deck is actually kind of able to whiz through a lot of that actually. And then the cutscenes happen, and then like the big fight scenes happen, and it starts to really drag. But that's really the closest experience that I can get today in terms of, I played the premium version on PS5, and now I'm playing the portable version on Steam Deck. But it's basically the same game, And it'd be cool if there was a Spider-Man Steam Deck version, But I feel like that'll never happen. Yeah, you're right. I mean, part of the reason why the PSP failed was because too many companies were trying to cater to too many different platforms as opposed to one.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the audience needs to be comfortable again with having cheaper games. Basically, like would you be okay with big IPs like Resident Evil or even Pokemon looking like Pokemon Black did back in the DS days or whatever?
Yes.
Would you be okay with a Resident Evil game that looks like Signalis as opposed to Resident Evil hyper real big mommy dummy vampire lady? Could you be okay with like a polygonal Resident Evil game again? Could you be okay with Uncharted that doesn't look as good as that looks like Uncharted 2 and not Uncharted 4?
Right.
I don't know if the audience is like that. We're all, maybe there's going to be a backlash to how long games are taking and how expensive they are and how much money that these companies are asking for. And it's like maybe games can kind of go back and just look like regular ass games again,
Yeah. Micah, first of all, did you play Viva Pinata on DS?
No, I never owned the DS version. It is very poor, according to online reviews. But this write-in brought up a great memory because in high school, one of my friends had Guitar Hero for DS, and he had like the cool peripheral for it.
Oh yeah, it was like yeah. I remember
exactly
that.
Your play, and I was like, yo, because this is a really unique write-in. When I was researching like for playing Majora's Mask, for example, in Ocarina of Time, and how do I want to play just like the Nintendo Switch Online version? Do I want to just get like the 3DS versions? And it was the first time in a while that I came across like, forum posts saying like the difference between these versions and what's the best version to play. Because as Gene mentioned, now it's not a different version of The Witcher 3 on Switch. It simply, doesn't look good. But it's the same game. It's not, a different version of it. And it is interesting to go back and when you're researching some of these older games and some of these older versions of them and seeing all these questions of like, what's the best version to play? What's the difference between the versions? And people saying like, well, in this one, the swimming mechanic is different. And in this one, this is different. And that doesn't really exist right now. It simply is that Mortal Kombat 1 looks bad. Melina looks like a potato, but it's the same game. It just doesn't look good. It is interesting. I think the only downside to that era is people who would get like blindsided by things. People who would say like, well, I bought this game for the DS and it's trash. And you could say, well, maybe you could have expected that just a little bit, but it's true that giving it like the same name and everything, and people might get a little blindsided by that specifically of this isn't the experience I thought I was getting. I was shocked actually when I found out that they released Xenoblade Chronicles on 3DS. Because dude, that thing barely ran on Switch. And I was shocked that there was a 3DS version of that. Shocked. So there are some times when I agree with the listener. It was a unique period to have those different ports done and to actually see how like different, how varied they were. But at the same time, as a consumer and as someone who kind of wants to look out for other consumers, I can also say it's not a great feeling to say, oh, I bought the bad version of the game just because I bought it for the console I have. And that, that's not great.
But they'd be cheaper though. Either. Like the Xenoblade Chronicles for DS was way cheaper than the one that you would get for the Switch or the Wii. So
that's it's an option for people. It is an option.
Like the problem with the Spider-Man 2 for Steam Deck is that I still pay $70 for it, the exact same price as I would for the premium PC price. Like that's another issue.
No, exactly. I'm just saying more so in terms of just the consumer being caught off guard. If you're just a parent buying your kid a game and you're just like, oh, I don't know why it's cheaper, but now they're unhappy with it.
Mhm.
It's just one of those things of, in terms of the consumer maybe not being educated on the options they have, and that's partly on them, partly on people selling the game. But there is this mix up of, yeah, on the one hand, it's cool to have a cheaper version and it will run on this because it was made for this. On the other hand, you're like, oh, I feel like I got duped because I went ahead and bought this and then I found out it's like the worst version of the game you could possibly own.
Like the famous examples are the ports of Mortal Kombat, which were terrible on Game Boy and Game Gear.
Yeah.
But if that's all you had, then you would get that, and you would not be super. I guess you would be happy with what you got, or you're not happy at all. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was me with Street Fighter 2 on Genesis. I was like, fuck, man. Got the worst version of this shit.
You did get the worst
3
version
buttons?
of it, yeah. That was crazy. That was a huge like deal when the Super Nintendo got like the objectively clearly better version of Street Fighter 2. Like I think that was like the first real, other than like Mortal Kombat having blood on the Genesis, right? I feel like that was the first real like, what the fuck, like platform exclusive type of bullshit, Yeah.
I mean, this is an interesting running. I'm thinking about, when I think about this from a handheld game, at least, I always think about Tony Hawk 2 on Game Boy Advanced.
That was
really
dope.
fun game. Really fun game.
That's a perfect example of like a great like adaptation that was a completely different game, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an isometric view almost. It's very interesting, but still really fun. And I remember just like the versions between Genesis and Super Nintendo games were very different. Like Aladdin's a great example. Completely different games, both fun in their own ways, but they're just so different. We're in such a different era nowadays.
I remember I was mad that the Genesis one got the Aladdin with the sword.
Yeah, he had the sword.
I was like, oh, he gets the sword fighting one, and the Super Nintendo gets the one where he's throwing fucking apples and bouncing on like other Arabic people's heads, like they're fucking Koopas. Like, okay, the Genesis one gets a sword. It looks a lot more accurate to the movie than it did.
It did.
I remember that pissed me off.
Put their pants down or something like that, and their boxers would show. It was very funny. Good shit.
Yeah.
Before we go, guys, we got one more breaking news thing that I just saw, and I'm very excited about this. Onimusha 2, Samurai's Destiny, is getting a remastered version coming out this year. We got Onimusha Warlords remastered years ago on like PS4 and Xbox and all that stuff and Switch. Didn't hear about it, but now we're finally getting 2, and Onimusha 2 is my favorite one.
It is a good one, yeah.
I'm very excited about this, very happy. So shout out Capcom. I'm going to play the hell out of this game. Jubei is back, baby. I'm stoked. So a nice little feel-good thing to end on. We'll see how they handle 3 in the future. Because they have like actors in it. Jean Reno is like the guy in 3, so I don't know how they'll handle that, but we'll see. But I'm just really happy to get that, though. Any thoughts, Gene? Just stoked?
Yeah, we're back in the it just happened, huh?
Yeah.
For modern platforms, I'm just catching up on this right now. Yeah, this is exciting. Yeah, you're right. Onimusha, like when Onimusha was re-released, I was like, okay. I mean, it was cool for back in the day, but it didn't. Even when I played it back in the day, it didn't exactly light my world on fire. I was more interested in like Way of the Samurai or other samurai type games. But then when Onimusha 2 dropped, I was like, oh, this is like I was still interested in the Onimusha concept. So when I tried out Onimusha 2, I was like, oh, this is like the Resident Evil 2, but like way better than like Resident Evil 2 was to Resident Evil 1, in that like this is like a proper combat system that feels really fun and chunky with a cool story and world. So yeah, I don't remember much of it, but I remember it being like leagues better than Onimusha 1. So
yeah. So good news right there. I like ending upon that. Micah, Gene, we're done. Another episode in the books. Thank you, too, for joining me as always. Before we go, any final thoughts or words you want to get out there, Micah? You'll lament KCD2, but you'll enjoy Yakuza in the meantime.
I will, and I have good news. Game Grumps are playing Sonic Adventure 2. Now, this isn't the first time they've played it, but they never finished it.
They never finished it. Yeah, that's right. They famously never finished it for some reason. Wow.
Yeah, so they've restarted it, and it's just been really fun to watch it and see this game again. This game is ass, though, dude. Like, this game sucks.
Like a good, like, maybe like 60% of it is ass, I think.
Yeah.
The problem is that people remember it because the Sonic levels were really good and the Shadow levels were really good. And then you got the Tails and Robotnik levels where you have to like run around in the mech and like collect the diamonds, and then Knuckles and Rogue levels where you have to go around and collect the
Pumpkin Hill, dude.
That was crazy, and that was not fun. But you get to the Sonic levels and you're like, oh yeah, it's so cool again, you know. And it's like that's what's so frustrating about the 3D Sonic games. It's like, why can't you just fucking make like those levels again? But like you just make levels like that again and just call it a Sonic game and you're good. And that's what Sonic Generations was, you know. And that's what Sonic Boom wasn't, you know. Sonic Boom was a whole weird thing. Sonic Heroes was a whole different thing, which was not bad. And then Sonic 06 tried to be that, but it was just terrible, you know. Yeah. So yeah, you're right that it's mostly not good. But I'm so excited. I did not realize that they're revisiting. They're revisiting the old the old text, you know.
The old text.
Yeah, they said they're going to try and finish it this time.
That's exciting.
It is just, I take back everything I said in previous shows of like, oh, if you want to see a game like, you know, remastered for Switch, and I would always say Sonic Adventure 2, you know, I take it all back. Take it all back. Because I loved that game.
You got Sonic Frontiers and Sonic and Shadow Generations, like that already in and of itself, like already has like the best levels from Sonic Adventure 2 already. So you kind of don't need it other than to kind of relive the specific Sonic Adventure 2 experience.
Well, exactly. That's the thing is I thought I wanted to relive it. I thought I wanted to because I loved that game so much. However, seeing them play it, I'm like, I would never play this except under
grumps,
torture.
You just need to get to the end. That's why it was so frustrating that they never finished it, because they were only playing the bad parts. And it's like, no, you get to the end, and then the end becomes like a 10-10, basically. You know? But they never even got to it. So it's like, no, we're all suffering through them playing through the Robotnik and Tails levels so that they can get to the hype ass ending levels, which are awesome. But it takes forever to get there.
All right, guys, let's get out of here, shall we?
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening. We appreciate it greatly. And we'll see you guys next episode, okay? Take care and goodbye. Punching Up, a Nintendo podcast, is a product of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is written and hosted by me, Bradley Ellis. My co-hosts are Gene Park and Micah Moriarty. The show is edited and produced by Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. Punching Up, along with the rest of Last Stand's media shows, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we're grateful for your kind contributions and generosity to our independent endeavor. Thank you.